Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'm going to review Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. So Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is the newest film in the Shrek franchise, and it's the second Puss in Boots movie after the 2011 film. I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. I thought the art direction and the voice acting were exceptional in this movie. It takes influences from Into the Spider-Verse in the Bad Guys movie that came out earlier this year, so it is that really cool looking almost illustrated style that looks like panels moving rapidly instead of like the traditional animation style from a movie like Shrek or other Disney films. I always like that DreamWorks is willing to take a little bit of risk with their movies, and it was interesting seeing such a stark shift in animation style from the Shrek films and the last Puss in Boots movie, but I think it really paid off, and I think the like non-stop action of this movie really works with that style. There's a lot of really cool action set pieces that even start off right away, so throughout the whole movie you get that really cool fighting with just kind of the frame rate changes, the slowdowns, the speed ups, everything that made like Into the Spider-Verse really interesting to watch. And as I mentioned, the voice acting is great. Antonio Banderas comes back as Puss in Boots. He feels like he really loves to play this character, and it comes through in his voice acting. Salma Hayek comes back as Kitty Softpaws, who we saw in the first film, and I'll have to say right away, I haven't seen the first movie since it came out, whatever, 11 years ago, and I didn't feel lost at all. This movie feels very standalone. It does call back to those movies and have some returning characters, but it doesn't feel like you're obligated to watch that movie or even any of the Shrek movies. Florence Pugh also has a role in this film. She plays Goldilocks, because throughout the film, Puss in Boots is being chased by two different fairy tale individuals. There's Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and he's also being chased by Jack Horner from the nursery rhyme, who's voiced by John Mulaney, and I think they both did fantastic jobs. They're really funny, particularly John Mulaney's character is so bizarre and strange. Even the way he looks, his character design is just bizarre to watch, and I thought it was an interesting take. They could have just made this movie really basic, but they did the initiative of doing the Shrek thing and making everything ridiculous and over the top and poking fun at fairy tales, which it just makes it fun to watch these movies. And speaking of poking fun at fairy tales, particularly Jack Horner, he has a bag full of magical items, and it is callbacks to everything you can imagine, from Disney films, even Harry Potter, all the magic things in media. So it's cool seeing those little kind of callbacks in the movie. The standout for me was the character Perito. He's this little dog who befriends Puss in Boots, and he's just relentlessly positive. He brings a lot of heart and light and comedy to this movie. He's so cute. He's one of those things that's thrown into the film to just be really cute, but I think it works. I think it brings the movie together and really helps with the messaging. And that's one of the things that I feel like makes the movie stand out a little bit from other animations. Even though the animation is really good and the voice acting is really good, I think it does have some strong, important messagings for kids. It talks about the idea of trying to not be afraid and live your one life, and don't try to be hung up on your own personal problems, but be happy and work with the people around you and be satisfied with where you are in the world. So I think that it really does shine through by the end of the film. It may be a little bit cheesy, the delivery may be a little bit heavy-handed, but I feel like that always happens in these animated films. It just helps to get kids to understand these themes, and I think that's worth trying. Plot itself is nothing really to write home about. You have Puss in Boots realizing he's on his last life. He's on his ninth life, and he just doesn't want to be Puss in Boots anymore. He's afraid. He's finally feeling fear for once in his life, and he tries to hang it up and become a normal house cat, but he can't do that. And then he realizes he can go find this wishing star that can give him the opportunity to have, all his 9 lives back, continue to be the hero that he wants to be, and he learns lessons along the way on that journey. So it kind of is just your traditional quest movie. They're trying to get to the end and you learn messages along the way. There is a fair amount of music in this movie, and I think the songs are fun and enjoyable. I think kids will like them, particularly the main theme that kind of plays throughout the movie. So it is fun. It does interject a lot of that energy to it, and it is, like I said, non-stop. There's a lot of action, a lot of movement. It doesn't feel like it has a lull in the film. Some of the moments in the movie are a little intense and maybe a little dark for kids. Particularly there's this character who's the big bad wolf who kind of represents death in a way, and it's kind of a strong theme. You're talking about Puss in Boots coming to grips with his mortality, and this character kind of represents death and his demise and his fear growing inside of him. And there's just some really, really good moments in the movie, but they are a little dark. It's pretty intense in the scenes that he fights Puss in Boots. But all in all, I think it is a really enjoyable movie, a lot better than I expected. I think it is better than the last Puss in Boots film. I think it is a top-tier Shrek film. For me, it's probably the best since the very first couple films. So if I were to rate Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, I would actually give it an 8.5 out of 10. One of the best animated films this year. It's right up there with the likes of Pinocchio, Turning Red, some of the other movies that came out. So if you end up checking out Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, let me know what you thought about it. Leave those thoughts down below. And how does it rank as far as the Shrek films? Like I said, for me, it's like a top-tier Shrek film. One of the best animated films in recent memory. So again, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. See you guys next time.